Welcome to another edition of Exotic Gardening. I'm standing under the archway here. All I can smell is sweet smell of vanilla, spices and chocolate. And that is because of the chocolate vine flowers that are in full bloom on both sides here. On one side we have the purple standard type, which if you just have a smell of, it smells absolutely gorgeous, so sweet. And vaguely of chocolate, but definitely of vanilla and spice. And on the other side we have the white type as well. It's not flowering as much. We have the cluster of flowers. We have the white in the centre mainly and the more purple on the outside. And it's a fantastic display so early in the season. And then the season continues, so after we have these flowers finish, we have the potato vine here, Geranium. They're purple flowers that go through May right through summer. And then after that we've got the passion flowers, the purple passion flowers, which are climbing up this side here, and they flower sort of from July right through to November, and they also travel along the rope of the bridge as well. So the Akebia, the chocolate vine, that's pretty much evergreen, and that flowers first, and that gives the main structure of this archway. The passion flower is pretty much sort of deciduous really. I've cut that back, still got some leaves showing here, but I've cut most of it back, and then it's really vigorous in early summer and it'll just come up and cover this area once the chocolate vine's done its thing. And then the Geranium, it's not really a climber, it's more of a scrambler, and it's just around this archway and spreading out, and actually it's already in flower if we look just over there. So that's the archway. Now to do some jobs in the garden. So one thing that's really important that I do every year is make sure top dress or mulch pretty much all the beds where I'm going to add lots of plants for the summer colour. So all this area between the greenhouse and the jungle hut on both sides, I've put a really deep layer of mulch. And what I mean by mulch is a mixture of manure, it's got some compost and also some sort of bark, composted bark as well. It's all been mixed up and it's been spread all over these beds. And this acts, it does several things. It acts obviously as a barrier to suppress weeds. It keeps all the moisture in, and it also adds lots of nutrients and sort of goodness over time as well when the worms and all the animals dig up and churn up the compost and bring it down into the soil. And it also gives a nice finish as well for the start of the season before all the plants will cover the bare ground given time. And I've done a thick layer, so it's at least 5 centimetres deep everywhere. In some areas up to 10-15 centimetres where it's sort of been in little shallows that I've tried to level up. And all this area, as you can see, is pretty bare. We've got the evergreen plants, the plants that are there all year round. So we've got the row of the palm trees by the fence, got the palm tree here. And what we've got dotted about is some of these aloes that we dug up, well, I shouldn't say dug up, we chopped off from near the big jabea further down the garden. We chopped off branches last spring, about a year ago exactly, and we just plonked them in the ground, basically just to root where there was space, and they've been left over winter. So we've got a big cluster over here. These have come through winter, no problem at all, and we've got various other clusters around the garden. So they're in place, but I will dig them up and move them on this year. Other plants we've got the hardy umbrella plant, the Scheffler here. Got one in full sun on this side, and we've got one in pretty much full shade on the other side by the bamboos. And moving forward down here, we've got the geranium that comes from Madeira. There's 2 types. There's Madeirense and there's also palmatum. And this is one of those 2 species. I've got them mixed up, so I'm not certain which it is until it flowers. And it will flower in the next month or so, and you get a huge cluster of pinky purple flowers, so much bigger than the regular geraniums that we grow. And we've got the Mule Palm here, which has suffered quite a lot of frost, windburn damage here, so it's quite a lot of brownish on the outer leaves. The centre's totally fine, and the newest leaves actually, they're pretty much fine, but the outer leaves, because it's quite a slow growing plant, does look a bit untidy at the moment. Hopefully in a couple of years, when it's really established and we get some mild winters again, then we will have more leaves looking better at this time of year. It could be that it's just not very hardy, so we might end up one year planting something else here. But for now, it's looking pretty good and looks very exotic compared to the other palms that we have in this area. Back to the mulch. So it's in this area. I just want to show you a few other places in the garden where I've spread this mulch and what's underneath. So believe it or not, this Cycas revoluta has been out all winter yet again. So I think it's been out 3 or 4 winters now, and it still remained green. And if you're not familiar with these ancient plants, they are very rigid leaves, and all the leaves appear pretty much at once in this species. So at the centre you'll have a rosette open up of new leaves, and they'll flush over a few weeks and they're quite soft, and then they harden up, and then they remain like this for several years. And in the UK you normally get a flush of new leaves every year or every other year. This year this plant is due a flush because it's been a couple of years since we last had new leaves. So all the leaves you see now are at least 2 years old. In warmer conditions in other countries, they might flush 2 or 3 times per year, and they get a lot taller, a lot quicker. There is a trunk down here, which is pretty spiky, with all the spikes and also the little spines on the side of the old leaves as well. So you don't want to go near that really, and it is a very poisonous plant, especially for cats and dogs. Now, I put mulch on this area around me, like I have further down the garden, and again it's covered all the plants. I've been careful around the cycas not to go up the side of the trunk because that could cause rotting. I've just gone to the base, but everywhere else it's a good sort of 5-10 centimetres of the mulch. And in front of me down here, this is where we've got all the colocasia pink chinas, which are all coming out now. The odd one's got a leaf unfurling, like the one down here, but the rest of them are just getting ready. They've been warming up over the last few weeks. Now this mulch is on, it'll protect them a little bit if we do get a late frost, but it'll also give them lots of nutrients to boost their vigour, and we'll have nice green leaves opening over the next week or two. And then by midsummer, this whole area will have huge leaves, and that will be sort of the large greenish, sort of light yellowish greenish leaves on this particular species, and these big pink stems, and they're really tropical looking. And these colocasias are right around the garden. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of them, all come from these central sort of bulbs, and then little bulblets and runners go off these as well. And underneath where I'm standing, we've got some other plants stirring. So we've got the dahlias that I've left in here, and other areas we've got begonias and cannas as well, and they'll be showing their heads very soon.
Thanks for watching Yorkshire Kris Weekly.